time for another Q&A session. This time I'm answering questions that I get often from lots of different people, plus questions that I got on Facebook this week. First question, do you have a boyfriend or husband? Wow, we're really getting right down to it right away, aren't we? I have a boyfriend. His name is George. George Glass. Next question. What's up with that camera that you keep breaking? Oh, this. My old D100. It took an unfortunate swim many years ago. Nothing that was caught on video, though. It was a total loss. So I kept it to abuse it. Like this. In the pool, some pictures will do. This I'm gonna do is, and this. Put it underwater. So make sure that you have some sort of, and that. And from Kevin, are you a fan of battery grips? Often I see your cameras without them, but I wonder when you travel or hike if you use them. I have a few. I have one for my N65 film camera. I like them for smaller bodies though, bodies that I might use with heavier lenses like the 70-200. I've got one for my D70, my Rebel T4i, and I had one for my D3100. But you know, I usually like to travel light though, so maybe my D800 without a grip and a compact prime lens, like a 50mm. Now from Gary, much like the megapixel wars, dynamic range is being touted as yet another thing to chase in the numbers game. Is there a point where more dynamic range is just silly? How many of them there EVs do we need? I'm all for, you know, technology and moving forward. More pixels, more dynamic range, more speed. But even with all that tech, like in my D800, you know, it does 2 out of those 3 very well. But, you know, even with all of that, when I grab my old D50, it has fewer pixels, fairly low dynamic range, and is under 3 frames per second. But when I'm careful and I pay attention to what I'm doing, which is really what I like to do rather than just rattling off shots, then I get the photos that I want. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I love technology, but it will never be a substitute for that artistic vision lurking inside of you. John says, what are considered classic, perhaps even vintage texts on photography? I like art books. Some are more photography oriented than others. One of my favorites, though, is a book on aesthetics called Ways of Seeing. For me, studying art and aesthetics in any medium helps with my photography. Alejandro asks, why not Canon? I don't know. Why not Canon? Rebel T4i? Check. PowerShot? Check. Cute Canon pancake lens? Check. What we should be asking about is why not Pentax? They have that little QS1 mirrorless thing, all different colors, so pretty. Hey Pentax, you want to send me a camera? Give me the Pentax. And from Dan, quick question. Do you think it's time that we dropped the D in DSLR? I understand the D meaning digital for when cameras were making the move from film to digital, but I think it's time we dropped the D and just went with SLR. Shouldn't people know it's all digital by now? Sure. Or we should change it to something confusing, like WSLR. Now from Sean, why are you single? Because I smell. Eric says this might be a really stupid question, but here goes. For the longest time, I've been trying to get this career to take off, but it never really felt like it was going anywhere. Anyway, fast forward to present day. I've pretty much found a niche doing ethereal fantasy shoots in a wooded area around me. Anyway, now I feel like it's just all going too fast. So my question is, how do you deal with your transition from, I wish I could be a professional photographer, to, OMG, I am ready, here we go. It's a bit overwhelming. Does this even make sense? I hope so, LOL. Well, Eric, you've got me intrigued. I think I know what you're talking about with ethereal fantasy shoots in a wooded area around you. It either sounds completely awesome or completely illegal. Do you have them in a portfolio somewhere that you can share? I'd love to see it. As for being overwhelmed, I say go for it. Life's too short to be completely in control. Donald, I'm in search of a new lens and need a Lil help. Lil, L-I-L. My camera is a D7100 and I currently have a Sigma 17-50mm f2.8. I was wondering, is it better to go with a Sigma 50-150mm f2.8 or go with a Sigma 70-200mm f2.8? The kicker is Sigma stopped making the 50 to 150 millimeter. Is it okay to have a 20 millimeter gap on focal length? I'll go for extra reach on the long end every time. Zach asks, what would you buy if you had an extra $5,000 laying around? Shoes. I'd buy shoes. Jesus, can't decide which lens to buy, Nikon 85mm 1.8 or the Nikon 50mm 1.8. Any advice? Jesus, I have never met a prime lens that I didn't like. I have both of those lenses in my collection. Let me know what you like to shoot, and if you're shooting with a full frame or crop sensor, then I can make a recommendation. Longtime viewer Tori asks, are you ready for Halloween? Are you going to dress up? If you are going to dress up, we need pictures. I've done shoots like this, and this for Halloween. I'm still working on this year's ideas, but yes, there will be a shoot. Tori also asks, which Disney princess is your current favorite? Now that Disney owns the Star Wars franchise, this one's easy. Princess Leia. On to Kevin. Do you shoot more often in full frame or APS-C mode? With my D800, I shoot full frame, but I shoot my crop sensor D300S almost as much. Bruce wants to know, how many marriage proposals do you receive in a week? Well, I don't know, Bruce. Are you asking? Frank's question is, what do you plan to do when aperture goes away? Okay. I can handle this. I can handle it. Steve asks, who put the bomp in the bomp-a-bomp-a-bomp? Who put the ram in the ram-a-lam-a-ding-dong? Oh, Steve. I actually wanted my name to be Sandy when I was young because I loved that movie so hard. Now I just want Sandy's clothes. Alfred wants to know, have you ever considered branching out to doing street photography? You know I have, but all of my photos turn out like this. Tori again, he asks, would you be my model? Okay, let's go Halloween. I've got my Wonder Woman costume ready, but you have to pick up your camera right now because I'm only doing this once. That's it, friends. Awesome questions, as always. I do have some ideas for my Halloween shoot this year, and I've gotten a few suggestions from you guys already, but if you do have some ideas, lay them on me in the comments below. I want the Pentax. Now. Motherfucker!